There's no need for an intro, we all know that the Houston Rockets and the Philadelphia 76ers are two of the most screwed up franchises in NBA history. Not in history rather, but in today's NBA. But so today we will tackle on how the Philadelphia 76ers can fix their problems and not be screwed up. And I will sure make a video on how the Houston Rockets can fix theirs. So yeah, let's get into it. Now to start things off, I just want to say that the Philadelphia 76ers starting 5 last year was definitely the most talented one, with Ben Simmons, Josh Richardson, Tobias Harris, Al Horford, and Joel Embiid in their starting lineup. But the one problem that they have that they really need to fix, aside from coaching, is shooters. They need shooters. They have two options in this one. They can either trade for one of the most lethal shooters in the NBA today in Buddy Hield, or sign free agents that are shooters that if they can convince them to take minimum deals will be great. But first, let's go to the more realistic option in trading for Buddy Hield. Here's a trade suggestion that I have. Philly gives up Al Horford and Matisse Thybulle and a second round pick for Buddy Hield, and they can also give up Zaire Smith, but instead they have to give up a first round pick instead of a second round pick. Now, I know what you are thinking, that they are playing themselves by giving up too much. They are robbing themselves, but really they aren't. Buddy Hield's stock is in an all-time high. It is actually higher than what you think, and I think this offer is very. If I was the Kings, I would take the first round pick, Zaire Smith, and Matisse Thybulle. Not or Matisse Thybulle, but to be fair to Philadelphia, I this would be fine. I hope that they can convince Sacramento to do this deal. Although that's unlikely, there's still that possibility. But Al Horford, Matisse Thybulle, and a second round pick, or Zaire Smith, Al Horford, Zaire Smith, and a first round pick will be fine. And let's go to the second option where they sign shooters. Now this is pretty tough because yes, we have a lot of shooters in free agency, but none of them are vet minimum worthy. If there is a vet minimum person, they are probably too old, and Philly don't have any time to waste because this is their last hurrah, just like with the Clippers. Because if they fail this season, they will probably trade Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons, either one of them, which I vaguely disagree. I will explain on why later. But here's the deal. Here's a list of shooting free agents. You have Joe Harris, who I think will resign to the Nets, even if he gets a high payday. And also, who who would convince Joe Harris to sign a vet minimum? Evan Fournier. He played terrible in the playoffs, but he still expects money more than a vet minimum. KCP just came off a NBA championship. I'm sure he would rather re-sign with the Lakers, especially if the Philadelphia 76ers are only offering him a low ball vet minimum deal. Jordan Clarkson is very unlikely. Bryn Forbes. Now, Bryn Forbes, I'm that's where I am not sure on whether or not Bryn Forbes will accept it or not, because I don't personally know what is the money he deserves. He might deserve more than that, or that might just be right. But he played well in the 8 elimination games in the bubble, so maybe he is asking for a higher payday. But if all of the teams that offer him a contract lowballs him as well, I think Philadelphia will be a better choice for him than San Antonio. Wesley Matthews. Now, Wesley Matthews is a decent shooter, but he fits into the category that I said earlier, that is pretty old, and if they suddenly regress when the season starts, which is in January 18 probably, that will be a huge problem for Philadelphia, because they don't got time to waste. Pat Connaughton, another Milwaukee back, Although I think he will resign to the Bucks. It, Philadelphia should give it a try. Even Kyle Korver. I mean, Kyle Korver, either he ages or not, he is Kyle Korver. So I think they should give him a shot as well. I know what I've said before about old shooters, but Kyle Korver is Kyle Korver. And Rodney Hood. Rodney Hood, if hopefully Philadelphia doesn't resign, I mean, Portland rather doesn't resign him. And if they don't, Philadelphia, there's no better place than the city of brotherly love. Now, if they manage to get at least 3 shooters, it would really help them with spacing. Eh, but after trading, I mean, if they go the bodybuild route rather, they would be lacking forwards, bigs. Actually, only the small forward plus power forward spot because you can easily slide Tobias Harris to the power forward. Um, you can either sign Mike Muscala, Nick Batum. You should give him a try. I'm sure he will try and get that vet. I mean, I'm sure he will accept that vet minimum, since I don't think a lot of teams will be that interested in him. And why not resign Mike Scott as well? Um, so yeah. They also need some bench scoring that I cannot really illustrate on how they can do it, but somehow they have to do it. I don't know. I just don't know how to explain it. But if they do want more star power, they would have to go all in. I mean, they would have to trade their future. Well, Paul George and James Harden are in trade talks. So if Houston and LA wants a 3-team deal, a deal that involves Tobias Harris, Paul George, and James Harden will be fine, but Philadelphia will have to give up 2 first-round picks and able to get Paul George, but forget his future playoff performance. Paul George is still a top 15 player in NBA, and I think you trade Tobias Harris contract for Paul George, or heck, you can maybe even get James Harden in that deal. Depends on who the 3 teams want. You can always give up Josh Richardson, who is another additional asset to any trade, even that Buddy Hill trade I mentioned 5 minutes ago. And other than that, they also need Doc Rivers also needs to figure out what system they will be playing in. Either that's a triangle one, which is very unlikely, or a they just gotta Doc Rivers just gotta avoid the most basic ones. So because that's the reason on why they lost when he was with the Clippers, is because they were too reliant on tough shots because of their basic offense. And as a result, teams can easily guard them, especially in a 7-game series. Um, the reason why I didn't name Shake Milton, but what's the same with Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons in any of those trades is because, for my opinion, they need to keep those people, even if they don't win a championship the next season or even make the finals. They still need to keep them. They're only in their 3rd season together. They are still pretty young. They are still hungry. They are still in their 3rd season together. You just don't know. And even if you trade one of them, what will you get back? I mean, would the Rockets trade Ben Simmons for James Harden? Well, probably, but I don't think they won't, because it will be a lot tougher to trade Russell Westbrook then, because a Westbrook and Simmons combination would definitely not work because both of those people shoot bricks. They cannot shoot. Um, there's also this route that they keep the same starting 5, but I'm telling you need shooters in that team. Other than Alec Burks and Shake Milton, there is really no consistent shooter in there. I mean, Furkan Korkmaz is as well, But do you really consider Tobias Cyrus as a consistent 3-point shooter? Because teams will double team Joel Embiid a lot. And Ben Simmons will just drive to the paint. And Ben Simmons attracts defenders, especially when he drives. So that's why you need shooters. And if you have a team that has two stars that cannot shoot consistently, you definitely need shooters. It's like building a team that has LeBron and Russell Westbrook in it. I know that's a bad comparison, but you get my point. And if they go with this bodybuild route, they need some bigs and a couple more shooters because Buddy Hield can cover the gap all by himself. So that's something they gotta fix. But if that's the case, they really don't have to trade Josh Richardson. He can be a spark plug of the bench. You can definitely use some bench scoring, and that can help if he is willing to do so. And also somehow, some way, Doc Rivers has to make these kids mentally tougher because there's a reason why they suck on the road and they are great on their home floor. So yeah. Other than that, I think they have fixed. They think they have fixed their coaching, which I disagree with. I think Mark Jackson would have been a better fit because he is a ceiling raiser, and the Sixers need that right now because they have a lot of young guys. But yeah, that's it for today. I hope you guys enjoy it. So yeah, peace out. Hit me real quick. Yes, I now post game recaps both for the PBA and the NBA when the season starts. Please support that as well, the same way you do in this kind of videos. Enjoy this vid of my former classmates playing volleyball. So yeah, peace out.